thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Flagler County, your local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on why they love being in Flagler County. So today I'm super excited to have my guest, Ms. Anne Marie, with us today. Anne Marie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a few minutes of your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, I know you because your daughter was on last week and we had a really fun time together and we've been friends for I think over a year now. And she's like, you know who would be great? She's like, my mom. My mom does some really cool stuff and we've talked about it before. So I was like, oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to have her on. So Emery, I'll kind of let you explain a little bit about what you do, but you are help families and children and with
Mhm.
speech therapy, which I think is a really, really lovely field. But I'll let you kind of start the story. So how did you first come to Flagler, come to find Palm Coast?
Well, we pretty much came to Flagler because the county that we lived in was St. Augustine. We loved it there, but it is becoming very crowded.
Yes.
Lots of Northerners moving in, which is great as well. But we pretty much like a more quiet community. So we looked into Palm Coast, and here we are. So we've been here about almost 2 years. I think April actually will be 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, March
yeah.
is 2 years for me, so we're right
Oh,
up in there.
wow.
That's
That's
crazy.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. How have you liked, I mean, I guess the differences between St. Augustine and Palm Coast? Like, what have you liked about Palm Coast being different from St. Augustine so far?
Well, I think the first thing I would say is less people. Although it is becoming quite the area for people to move into. Um, so it's great to see change,
Yeah.
which is also part of the field that I'm in. I
Yeah.
love to see change. But I would say that I like the quiet. I like that there are areas like trails that you
Mhm.
can walk and ride in. Um, People are friendly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a great community to be in.
It's very lovely. I think also obviously the key difference between St. Augustine and us is St. Augustine gets a lot more tourists. So like St.
Yes,
Augustine technically isn't that big and St. John's technically isn't that big. But it's such a lovely place. People want to go visit. Not saying
right.
Flagler isn't, but I feel like Flagler's we have a few more years under our belt by keeping it a little bit of a secret, I think. I think
I
that's what we
agree.
have
I
going
definitely
on.
agree with you. Yes, we've got to hold on to that.
Right. I think we have a few more years. Unfortunately, I am a northerner who came down here, so I am a part of the problem. But it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
beautiful and I'm
yeah.
really enjoying it here. Yes, I'd love for you to talk about more about your field and what inspired you. So you have Let's Go Speech. And how did you even know that that was a field you wanted to go into?
Yeah, great question. And I love talking about that. So many, many, many moons ago in college, I thought that I wanted to be a pediatrician. That was my goal. I was going to go to med school and be a pediatrician and the best pediatrician there is. And then when I took chemistry, I went, oh yeah, no, that's not for me. So
Yeah.
I took a class that looked at a variety of health professions, and there was a speech pathologist who came in, and she talked about working with children and all the different things that she did, helping them talk and uh, all the different activities that she would provide. And I went, oh, I like that. So I shadowed a speech pathologist for a week during my spring break one year and loved it. And I haven't turned back since.
Wow.
So yeah, I graduated. And after many years, I created Let's Go Speech, really because I wanted to be more of a business owner
Mm,
rather than having to work for someone else.
yeah.
I worked in the school system, and that was good for a time while my children were in school. I loved it because I was able to be in the same school where they were. I don't know if they really liked that so much, but that was great for me. And we had the same hours, we had the same school calendar, and so on.
Mhm.
And then I just started to feel the pull to do what I do and continue loving what I'm doing in my own space and providing what I provide the way I provide it my way. And that's what I've done. I
Oh,
created Let's Go Speech, and yeah, here we are providing therapy and evaluations to a variety of wonderful families.
oh, I love that. And as Let's Go Speech, is that something locally or can you do that nationwide or where do you cover?
So I pretty much cover St. Augustine, St. Johns County, and beginning to work my way into Flagler County, into Palm
Mm-hmm.
Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could do that in other states as well. However, if I only did that through telehealth.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do that, but
Yeah,
because I'm really just wanting to stay within the local community, I am pretty much based here in Palm Coast, but also
I gotcha.
seeing families in St. Augustine as well.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So it's so cool that you're able I mean, that's a really big part of obviously college is you able to go out there, expect
Mhm.
to experience. And it's not until you do like, like shadowing that you can really figure out like, okay, is this something that I want to do? Can I see that as a long term for my career? Like I know my friend, she's going through pre-med right now. She's going through the undergrad process and she's like, yeah, I don't really know exactly what field I want to do because like the classes,
Yeah,
like you mentioned, like some she likes, some she doesn't. She's like, I don't know what I can keep going for like 8, 9, 10 years on.
right.
So it's one of those experience things that you really can't tell people. Um, but I'm curious to know, so you mostly work with families and children,
Hmm.
of course.
Hmm.
If a parent is maybe looking into this as an option, Let's Go Speech, or maybe just a speech pathologist or speech therapy in general, what are some of the things that they can keep in mind? Like, okay, this is what I noticed in my child. Is this a good time to go to someone? I'm not sure if this will be a problem. It's been a problem, or anything like that. Like, what should parents know before while they're researching and while they're looking for something, or if they should even be researching?
Yeah, I love that question. That is so important. I would say that mom and dad, or even grandma, many grandmas are taking care of their grandkids right now. They have a gut feeling. And I
Mm,
have just learned through experience to trust a mom, a dad, or a caregiver and listen. We as therapists and primary doctors
mhm,
have to listen to what they're saying because they have a gut feeling. They
mm,
know their children that something isn't quite right. And at the same time, yes, they can definitely do their research and they can go to the American Speech and Hearing Association, which is what I am a part of. That is our professional nationwide association. And they can go to that website and plug in where can I find a speech therapist in my area. They can put in their zip code, I think, or even their state. So they can do that. That's one. I would also recommend that they talk to their primary doctors.
mm,
Now, some doctors are good at identifying and keeping track of their patients, especially their children, pediatric patients, at their developmental milestones.
mhm,
And when they see that their patient is not talking
mhm,
at 18 months or even hasn't said a
mhm,
word at 12 months,
mm,
some doctors are very proactive
mm,
and letting families know, let's keep an eye on this, or you know what, you should really contact your early steps program,
mhm,
or you should contact a speech therapist. This is your insurance. These are the therapists that are covered under your insurance. Some doctors are very proactive. I know some doctors who are not so proactive
sure.
and are very general and, well, let's wait a little longer. Let's wait a little longer. And mom and dads and caregivers know if they wait, they are not providing the support that their child needs.
Mhm,
Early intervention is key. It is highly important. The sooner we provide evaluation and treatment, the sooner some difficulties a child has, yes, they can be changed, they can be modified. And families can get the support that they need when they see, oh, something isn't quite right with my kiddo.
Mm,
Yeah. So
yeah.
there are supports out there. There are resources out there. Um, they can even just go on the web,
Yeah.
online, and yeah, and just plug in, my child is not attending very well,
Right.
or my child spins a lot and doesn't really look at me.
Mm,
Um, there are lots of different avenues that
yeah.
families can look into.
Yeah, and really, I think this would be a really interesting question for me to know more as well. Is there anything that maybe like someone like you or speech pathologist or speech therapist, are there any things that maybe children learn that people I guess would be surprised to know? Like, is there something that they pick up? You're like, oh, I didn't know that this was something that they could learn or experience or tackle. I thought it was just like XYZ, but it actually is a lot more than that.
Well, yes. I mean, there are very well-known developmental milestones, that are uh, that primary care physicians are completely aware of.
Mm,
And so typically by the age of 12, a child should have at least a few words. Very simple. Um, I mean, not 12 years, 12 months. I'm
months. Yeah,
sorry.
I was
Yeah,
thinking, I was like,
12 months.
hmm.
That would be a very delayed child. But no, by 12 months, a child should be able to have some of those very, very simple words.
Right,
They may not be exact, but they can
right,
be approximation. So like
right.
mama, dada, ball, no is quite often an early one.
Yep, that's a big
But
one.
yeah, there are those
Mhm.
motor and developmental milestones that children should have. And so when families see that by 12 months or even by 18 months, that their child is not um, continuing to progress, continuing to have a new word pretty much weekly, then yeah,
Yeah,
then there
then
should
that
be
would
a
be a
red
good time
flag.
to. I gotcha. That would make a lot of
Yes,
sense.
yes.
Um, Awesome. Well, before we wrap it up, I would like to know, I mean, I know we're both pretty new-ish to the community, but is there anything that you love to do in Palm Coast that maybe you would recommend to new people, whether it be, maybe I know Andrea was mentioning some of the trails she loves,
Mm.
maybe something you'd like to do with your friends, your family, or anything that, any groups, communities, events, anything that you like to go out there and get to know the neighbors a little bit more.
Well, I love dessert. My husband and I, we have been trying some new ice cream shops.
Oh.
So yeah, so we have been trying some ice cream stores. I also love tea, drinking tea. And so finding some coffee shops, tea shops, are really fun and great. I enjoy doing that. And recently I've been just going to the library
Hmm.
and yeah, finding out what's there, what's available in town that we can do. So
Yeah,
I haven't been on the trails yet, but
okay,
it is on my bucket list of things to do here.
definitely. Yeah, and I think a lot of people would be surprised to know. I mean, if the library isn't necessarily your cup of tea, you'd be
Yeah.
actually surprised. They have a lot of things going on, and it's
Hmm.
all ages. So they have, the youngest of kids to teenagers, because I know they have like an entire teen corner. They have middle school, elementary, but then they also have, young adults, and then, maybe some retirees or stuff like that.
Mm.
Book clubs, not book clubs, things like that. There's so much at the library that I feel like people would be surprised if that wasn't like somewhere they loved to go
To go.
anyway,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But
Right.
like you mentioned, I'm glad that you brought that up because I kind of forgot that, yeah, they have so many things going on.
Hmm.
Um, well, Anne Marie, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it. It's so fascinating to learn about this, and I have a huge, huge passion in my life for kids. So I think it's so awesome that that's what you're helping them with is
Mm.
just making sure that they're able to communicate their hopes, their dreams, their desires as children. And then that's really important, of course, as they continue to grow up. So I really appreciate the time. This was super educational and also just a lot of fun for me. So again, thank
Thank you.
you. And thank you to anyone listening. I appreciate your time and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.